The moment the judge began speaking, the tension inside the courtroom was already thick. This was never going to be a routine hearing. Cameras were rolling, reporters were packed into every available space, and the weight of history seemed to hang in the air. Then it happened. Donald Trump suddenly lost his composure. His voice rose sharply, cutting through the quiet authority of the court as he shouted, "I'm innocent!" What followed was not a calculated legal defense, but a raw, emotional outburst that instantly became national news. Rachel Maddow would later describe it as one of the most revealing moments of Trump's legal battles so far. This hearing was centered on allegations tied to actions taken during Trump's time in office, actions that legal experts argue could fall under violations of international law. While the phrase war crimes carries enormous legal and moral weight, Trump has consistently dismissed it as absurd and politically motivated. But in this courtroom, the strategy of dismissal failed. When the judge pressed Trump directly on responsibility and accountability, the former president reacted not with facts, but with fury. His outbursts stunned observers and underscored just how different a courtroom is from a campaign rally. Rachel Maddow pointed out that Trump has always thrived in environments where he controls the narrative. On social media, on stage, or in friendly interviews, he dominates by interrupting, attacking, and overwhelming. But a courtroom strips away those advantages. The judge controls the room, the rules are fixed, and when Trump realized he could not bully his way through questioning, his frustration boiled over in full view of the nation. Witnesses described Trump leaning forward aggressively, his voice echoing as he repeated his claims of innocence. The judge attempted to restore order, reminding him that this was a legal proceeding, not a political performance. Instead of backing down, Trump doubled down. Maddow noted that this reaction may feel familiar to viewers, but the context makes it far more dangerous for Trump. Every word spoken in court carries consequences, and emotional outbursts can undermine even the strongest legal defense. Legal analysts following the case were quick to point out that Trump's behavior could work against him. Judges are trained to assess credibility, and composure matters. When a defendant appears unable to control their emotions, it raises serious questions. Maddow emphasized that shouting, "I'm innocent," is not evidence. Innocence is demonstrated through documentation, testimony, and legal argument, not volume and anger. The hearing also highlighted a larger shift happening in American politics and law. For decades, the presidency was viewed as a shield against direct accountability. This moment shattered that illusion. Trump was not being treated as a former president or political figure, but as a defendant. Maddow described this as a turning point, not just for Trump, but for the rule of law itself. The idea that no one is above the law is being tested in real time. Trump's legal team appeared visibly tense throughout the exchange. Reports indicate that his attorneys tried to signal for him to stop speaking, aware that his comments could be damaging. This dynamic, lawyers trying to control their own client, has become a recurring theme in Trump's legal struggles. Maddow highlighted that Trump's inability to follow legal advice may be one of his biggest liabilities. Courtrooms reward discipline, not defiance. Supporters of Trump immediately framed the incident as proof of his strength. Conservative commentators praised his willingness to fight back against what they call a biased system. But Maddow dismantled that narrative. She argued that true strength in a legal setting is restraint. Judges do not respect shouting. They respect adherence to the process. What Trump displayed was not confidence, but desperation. The judge's response was calm and measured, a sharp contrast to Trump's behavior. Without raising their voice, the judge reminded Trump of courtroom decorum and the seriousness of the allegations. That quiet authority spoke volumes. In that moment, the power dynamic was unmistakable. Trump, once the most powerful man in the world, was being told to sit down and listen. Maddow also explored the psychological aspect of the outburst. Trump has long relied on the idea that he can bend reality through repetition. If he says something loudly and often enough, it becomes truth to his supporters. But courts operate differently. Reality is determined by evidence, not repetition. Trump's frustration seemed to stem from realizing that his usual tactics were failing him. As the hearing continued, the atmosphere remained tense. Every movement, every word was scrutinized. Trump's outburst had already shaped the narrative, and there was no undoing it. Maddow noted that moments like this tend to follow public figures for years, becoming symbols of larger downfalls. This was not just a bad day, it was a defining image. The political implications are equally significant. Trump is still positioning himself as a central figure in American politics. But footage of him shouting at a judge may alienate undecided voters and moderate Republicans. For many Americans, the presidency is associated with dignity and self-control. This scene challenged that image in a profound way. Maddow reminded viewers that history often judges leaders not by their words when things are easy, but by their behavior under pressure. This courtroom confrontation revealed a man who reacts to accountability with anger rather than reflection. That revelation may matter more than any single legal ruling. As the hearing came to a close, the legal questions remained unresolved. But one thing was clear. This case is not going away, and neither are the images of Trump losing control in court. Maddow warned that if Trump continues to treat legal proceedings as political theatre, the consequences could be severe. Judges have broad authority, and patience has limits. In the end, this moment was about more than Trump. It was about the strength of institutions. A system designed to withstand pressure was tested by a man accustomed to breaking norms, and for once, the system did not bend. Trump shouted. The judge remained calm, and the law moved forward. This was not a rally. This was not a television appearance. This was accountability in action. And as Rachel Maddow made clear, moments like these remind us why the rule of law matters, especially when it is being tested by those who once believed they were untouchable.